All right, the next topic we got is on ratios, and all ratios are relationships between two quantities or two things that you're studying. And you can express this relationship in division or as division if you like. Using ratios is going to give us another perspective on what we have right here, understanding how two things are related to each other. So let's look at a couple examples. So the two most common ways to express ratios is one using a colon. So you might say 1 to 2, a ratio of 1 to 2. It would be the exact same if you wanted to express it as division. And more often than not, it's better to use the division way of expressing ratios. It's a little more intuitive, and we're used to seeing fractions already. Not that writing it with the colon is wrong, it's just you usually have it expressed in division form or fraction form more often. We also want to express ratios in their most simplified form. So if I have the ratio 10 to 30, and we'll add some actual units and some examples coming up. Right, well, we would express this ratio in fraction form or in division form as 10 divided by 30. And there's nothing wrong with leaving it like that. Sometimes it is better to leave it in unsimplified form, but more often than not, and when in doubt, just simplify it. So the best way to write this ratio is actually 1/3 or 1 to 3. So we could write it like this as well. So where might you see this in real life? Well, let's say you are making something, you're cooking in the kitchen, and a recipe calls for 2 eggs, and also in that recipe you use 3 cups of sugar. Well, let's say you want to make more of whatever it is that you're making, cake or whatever. So you want to make more of it. You're going to feed a lot of people. So what you decide to do is you double the amount of eggs you're going to use. And you're going to then, because you doubled the eggs, you're going to double the amount of sugar. So you're going to have 6 cups of sugar. So let's look at this this first ratio here. I'm going to write that as a fraction. That's going to be 2/3, or I could write it like this: 2 eggs to 3 cups of sugar. And then I'm going to write this 4 eggs to 6 cups of sugar, the one that you're going to make more of. Let's write that as a ratio in fraction form. So that one's going to look like 4 eggs to 6 cups of sugar. And this fraction, we can simplify. Both of those numbers, 4 and 6, are divisible by 2. 4 divided by 2 is going to be 2. And then 6 divided by 2 is going to be 3. So again, we have that same ratio of 2 eggs to 3 cups of sugar. So as long as we are consistent in this recipe example, for instance, that we double one ingredient, we got to double all the other ingredients, because we don't want to make something that doesn't taste the same, right? If we are consistent with our ratios across the board, we can increase the amount of stuff that we're making or decrease it as well. Let's take a look at a quarterback, maybe a college football quarterback throwing 24 touchdowns and 6 interceptions in a season. So what is his touchdown to interception ratio? And that's a good measure of how accurate or how good of a decision maker your quarterback is. So let's just write this using the colon. So we'll write 24 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. And then we'll go ahead and write it as a fraction or in division form. So 24 over 6, 24 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. And if you recognize that 24 and 6 both can be divided by 6, so I'm going to simplify 24 over 6 by dividing 24 by 6 and 6 by 6. That's going to give me 4 over 1. or 4 touchdowns for every 1 interception. So what that tells me is that this quarterback is pretty good. He only throws an interception after he's thrown 4 touchdowns. That's not exact, but maybe one game was really bad and one game was really good. But overall, as it is averaged out, this quarterback will throw 4 touchdowns before he throws an interception, which is a really good rate, and you'd want this guy on your team. All right, what is the ratio of girls to boys in a room of 60 girls and 45 boys? So let's just use that colon again. So 60 to 45, 60 girls to 45 boys. I might then write that as a fraction, 60 over 45. And what number can go into both 60 and 45? Well, that's going to be 15 in this case. So if I divide both the top and bottom by 15, I will get 4 over 3, where there are 4 girls for every 3 boys. Or I could write it like this, 4 to 3.